Held for the first time last year in Johannesburg, South Africa, the event attracted over 2,000 participants and investors from 53 countries around the world, including pension funds and sovereign wealth funds. The results were simply amazing. Investments worth over $38.7 billion were mobilized in less than 72 hours. Just listen to Canada's Chris McLean, the Chief Executive Officer of Share Capital, a private equity fund with rising investments in Africa. He says, and I quote, "I have been traveling to Africa for over 20 years doing investments. I have never seen anything like the African Investment Forum. It created seismic shifts." A good example of such seismic shifts is the $2.6 billion deal by investors in South Africa to build Accra SkyTrain in Ghana. Also, the African Development Bank, Africa 50, and other partners signed a $500 million financing agreement to construct the first road and rail that will link the two Congos, the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Republic of Congo. And we are only just getting started. The 2019 Africa Investment Forum will hold in Johannesburg from 11 to 13 November, so please, mark your calendars. In 2018, the bank helped to finance and complete a number of major infrastructure projects that are very transformative, including 2 international airport terminals in Ghana and Senegal, and the regional express train of Senegal, the first in the West Africa region. And just to make sure that we are very supportive of the president there, one of my vice presidents, Amadou Hott, is now the Minister for Planning and Economy of the Republic of Senegal. I just want President Macky Sall to know that that is our equity investment in his government. We've provided $16 million to ECOWAS to support feasibility studies for the Lagos-Abidjan Highway. Our investment in the 1,000 kilometers Addis Ababa-Nairobi-Mombasa Highway is transforming trade between Ethiopia and Kenya, which has risen by a whopping 400%. Our investments to expand the Walvis Bay port in Namibia is opening up trade connections for several landlocked countries all across the SADC region, such as Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Zambia, and expanding trade volumes from 300,000 to 1 million 20-foot equivalent units. The bank's investment are making the road from Cape Town to Cairo a reality. Just last year, I had the pleasure of being with President Magufuli of Tanzania to inaugurate the bank-financed 251-kilometer road linking Dodoma to Babati, a critical missing link in the 10,288 kilometers Trans-Africa Highway number 4 that connects Cape Town, Lusaka, Dodoma, Arusha, Nairobi to Cairo. Rehima Tukai, who works in Dodoma, had great things to say recently about this road. With a broad smile on her face, she said, "Visiting my family in Kondoa on the road used to take me 5 hours. Now I get to see them in just a little less than 1 hour." We are doing more, though, than infrastructure. The bank is also supporting the integration of financial markets across the continent through the Africa Financial Markets Initiative, which is helping to link stock exchanges with a combined total market capitalization of $1 trillion. This includes Johannesburg, Nairobi, Casablanca, Windhoek, Lagos, and Cairo stock exchanges. As we connect nations through quality transport infrastructure, support ICT backbone networks, and financial markets, the bank is poised to further boost regional integration, in which we have very, very strong comparative advantage. And so let me just be clear. Regional integration will be totally meaningless unless women, who form majority of the traders, effectively participate. To advance opportunities for women, the bank's Affirmative Finance Action for Women in Africa, otherwise called AFAWA, is being rolled out to leverage $3 to $5 billion specifically for women businesses in Africa. I am delighted that the Women Entrepreneurs Finance Initiative, WIFI, that's for the World Bank, has just invested over $68 million in AFAWA. Now, this is very exciting for women across Africa because, indeed, when women win, Africa wins. To help Africa to achieve more, we are positioning the bank very well to meet the challenges ahead. I am pleased to report that since we last met in Busan, a lot has happened to your bank. The AAA rating of the bank was again maintained. I don't mean my own AAA, I mean the bank's AAA rating, as it has been for the past several years. We've always done that. Our loans to countries have expanded, and so have our disbursements. We are paying greater attention to the quality of our projects, as we should. The bank was rated the 4th among 45 development organizations in the 2018 Aid Transparency Index report, a clear sign of progress made in ensuring greater transparency and reporting across all of our operations. The bank introduced several balance sheet optimization initiatives that have generated global attention, including the Room to Run instrument that sold off some of the risks on our loan books to the private sector in a $1 billion initiative, the first by any multilateral development bank globally. And it's not just about money. It's all about development impact. In the past 3 years, the bank, with your support, has steadily delivered significant impacts. It has connected about 16 million people with access to electricity, 70 million people with access to agricultural technologies to achieve food security, 9 million people with access to finance from private sector companies, 57 million people with access to improved transport, and 31 million people with access to improved water and sanitation services. Yet, Africa needs more, and Africa deserves more. The time is right to do more for Africa. We cannot postpone what is good for Africa always into the future. As Africa's bank, we will continue with your support to push for greater results, for more development and better quality for the life of Africans. That's why the African Development Bank is seeking your strong support for the general capital increase of its bank, the African Development Bank, the commercial part of the bank, and also for the replenishment of the African Development Fund, a crucial fund for Africa's development. We are grateful for the strong support you gave yesterday. We had a long meeting at the conclusion yesterday on the 3rd Governors Consultative Committee. And I want to thank all the ministers and the governors for that. We made great progress in those conversations. And in July, we will also meet with our donors for the 15th replenishment of the African Development Fund. Our shareholders, you, the member countries of the bank, you are our best supporters. Just like that remarkable effort on Africa's regional integration, your collective unity and support for the bank's mission is the strength of the bank. I am absolutely confident that you will put, as you always have done, the interest, the yearnings, the aspirations of Africa first, and give its bank, your bank, the African Development Bank and the African Development Fund, the financing needed to help Africa achieve its desired development. As James Champy said, big results requires big ambitions. To develop Africa faster, African leaders are thinking big, and they should. Africa should not think small. Africa's own bank, the African Development Bank, should not think small. and its shareholders should not think small for Africa. It's not about what we can afford for Africa. It is about what Africa needs and deserves. Your Excellencies, governors, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Africa needs you. African integration needs you. And the African Development Bank needs you. Today, the African Development Bank Group is much stronger. It is fit for purpose. We will continue to reinforce our capacity, and we are ready to do more and to achieve greater results for Africa with your collective support. I thank you very much. Thank you for coming.